Hi there, and welcome to this lesson on percentage of amount. Now, finding the percentage of any amount is a really useful skill, not only to have an exam, but also in life. Now, the way I'm going to be doing it and the way I'm going to be showing you today is using a thing called a multiplier, and that will become a bit more clear as to what that is in a second. So let's take a look at this question on the left-hand side. Find 32% of £75. Find 32% of £75. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my 32% and I'm going to turn that into what I call a multiplier. So I have my percentage and I divide that by 100. So 32% divided by 100 is 0.32. Now this here is my multiplier. So I can times my multiplier by any amount to find out what that percent of that amount is. So I get my 0.32 and I times that by £75. And you're going to need to do this on the calculator. So if you type that into a calculator, you will end up with £24. So 32% of £75 is £24. And we do that by first getting our percent, dividing it by 100 to find our multiplier, and then taking our multiplier and timesing it by the amount, and then we get our answer. So pause the video here, copy out the workings to this left-hand example, and then have a go at finding the answer to the right-hand example, and play the video once you're done. Okay, fantastic. Let's have a look at this. So, find 37% of 75 kilograms. So the first things first, I want to find my multiplier. So I do 37% and I divide that by 100 to get my multiplier. And that is 0.37. So my multiplier is 0.37. And now I take my multiplier and times it by my amount. So 0.37 times by 75. And that's going to, if I type that into my calculator, that's going to give me 27.75 kilograms. And that's my final answer. Fantastic. If you got that, give that a couple of ticks. Okay, and now we're just going to look at a second example that's a slight variation. Okay, so second example on the left-hand side. Find 6.4% of 350 millilitres. Now this question is slightly different to the one we were doing before, because our percentage has got a decimal in it. That's no worries. Let's start this off exactly the same way as we started off the other one. Let's find our multiplier. So we take our percentage, that's 6.4%, and we divide that by 100. And if we do that, we're going to get 0.064. That's fine, that's our multiplier. So even though it's got a percentage in it, our process actually hasn't changed. So now we take our multiplier, 0.064, and we times that by our amount, which is 350 millilitres. And if we type that into a calculator, we are going to get 22.4 millilitres as your final answer. So we do this question exactly the same as the first one. We find our multiplier by dividing our percentage by 100, and then we times our multiplier by the amount. So pause the video here, copy out the workings down for this second example on the left hand side, and then once you've done that, have a go at this right hand example by yourself and play the video once you're done. Okay, fantastic, let's go through this. So we have find 7.4% of 550 kilograms. So let's go for this, 7.4%. And the first thing we're going to do is turn that into a multiplier. And we do that by dividing by 100. So 7.4%. We divide that by 100. And that gives us 0.074. We then take our multiplier, 0.074, and we times that by our amount, which is 550 kilograms. And if we type that into a calculator, we end up with 40.7 kilograms as your final answer. If you got that, give that some ticks there. Well done. Okay, now our third and final example that we're going to look at today. This one on the left hand side here. So find 107% of £58. Now this one is different from the first one because our percentage has got 100 in it. It's a 3-digit percentage. And it's different from the second one because our second one was a decimal percentage. But this is no different to anything else. The process still holds up for this type of question. So, first things first, let's find the multiplier. We do that by dividing our percentage by 100. So you do 107% divided by 100 gives us 1.07. Now our multiplier is different here because we've got a 1 in front as opposed to a 0, but that's no problem. So we take our multiplier, 1.07, and we times that by £58. And if we type that into our calculator, we will end up with £62.06 as our final answer. So, find our multiplier by dividing our percentage by 100, times it by our amount, that's our final answer. Copy out the workings for this question on the left hand side, then have a go at doing this question on the right hand side, pause the video and play it once you're ready. Okay, fantastic, let's do this. So find 117% of £58. Let's find our multiplier first. So it's 117%. We divide that by 100. And that gives us 1.17 as our multiplier. 1.17 times by £58 gives us £67.86 pence. And that's our final answer there. If you got that, fantastic, give that a few ticks. And now we're going to move on to 3 checks for you. So there's 3 checks here, 1, 2, 3, and an extension if you're feeling really brave. So pause the video here, have a go at these three, and once you've had a go at these three and the extension, if you're feeling brave, play the video and I'll whiz through the answers. Okay, let's look at this first one, 39%. So let's find our multiplier. 39% divided by 100 gives us 0.39. 0.39 times by £72 gives us £28.08 is our final answer. Let's have a look at this second question. Find 3.9% of £84. So let's find our multiplier. 3.9% divided by 100 gives us 0.039. We take our multiplier and times that by our amount, and that will give us £3.276. Now obviously you can round that up to £3.28. Either answer is fine. Let's have a look at the third one. So we're finding 156%, 21 millilitres. So let's find our multiplier. This is 156% divided by 100 gives us 1.56. 1.56 times by 21 millilitres, and that will give you 32.76 millilitres. There's your final answer there. And if you did get onto the extension, let's have a look at that one. So find 120.1% of £58. So let's find our multiplier. So it's 120.1 divided by 100 gives us 1.201. 1.201 times by 58 gives us 69.658. Let's get rid of that. 658. That's our final answer. Okay. If you got those, fantastic. Give them some ticks. And well done with that. So what I've done is I've in the description of this video, I've linked a worksheet, a core bit maths worksheet that you can do by yourself, and then you can check the answers on that worksheet. It's a really good worksheet. I would suggest going through question 1, 2, 3, and then going on to those apply section at the end. But if you can do everything in this lesson, you can do everything on the sheet, and that's a really good feat, and it's a really good skill to have. So well done, guys. Yeah, well done for working hard, and I shall see you in the next lesson.